So then, if you awaken from this illusion and you understand that black implies white, self implies other, life implies death, or shall I say, death implies life, you can feel yourself not as a stranger in the world, not as something here on probation, not as something that has arrived here by fluke, but you can begin to feel your own existence as absolutely fundamental. What you are basically, deep, deep down, far, far in, is simply the fabric and structure of existence itself. Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And that you could, for example, have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time, or any length of time you wanted to have. And you would, naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure you could conceive. And after several nights of 75 years of total pleasure each, you would say, well, that was pretty great. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control, where something is going to happen to me that I don't know what it's going to be. And you would dig that and come out of that and say, wow, that was a close shave, wasn't it? Then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today. That would be within the infinite multiplicity of choices you would have, of playing that you weren't God. Because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that he's not. So in this idea then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality, not God in a politically kingly sense, but God in the sense of being the self, the deep down basic whatever there is. And you're all that, only you're pretending you're not.
We are all interconnected. Hallo allemaal, daar zijn we weer, RHTVLive. Ja, natuurlijk gaan we het over geopolitiek hebben in zowel Engels als Nederlands. En ja, we streamen live vanuit het mooie Maastricht. Ja, en natuurlijk laten we dat op de kaart zien. So we are streaming live from the beautiful city of Maastricht. And of course, we're going to show that on the map. Here we go. Here we have Maastricht, which is in the south of the Netherlands. And of course, we're going to talk politics and geopolitics. And first, we're going to take a look at what happened in Spain. Major floodings in Valencia and other parts of Spain. So, you know, and people are very, very angry. Here we have Valencia. It's in the south of Spain. Major floodings, major heavy rain, and major storms and such. You know, heavy floodings. And the king, the guy who calls himself king, because we don't believe in kings, he went to one of these places in Spain that had major flooding, and yeah, we're going to take a look at that. Dus de koning van Spanje is naar een rampgebied geweest in Spanje. En we gaan zo even naar wat beelden kijken van wat er dus gebeurde in Spanje. So let's take a look at some images of what happened in Spain. They're cleaning up, and the king went to see the cleanup, and what happened? Mud flung at Spain's king as cleanup and search efforts continue in flood aftermath. Now this is how you treat a king, right? Someone who calls himself a king. I did not elect you, nor did the people of Spain. Can you believe that? Mud has been flung to the King of Spain. You know, we praise these people trying to search for missing. We praise these people, but yeah, that's how you treat a king.
Mira, por aquí. Vamos. No hay nada. Vamos, mira.
Now, there is a website where you can see the 8,000 dams or dikes have been demolished, right? And yeah, you may say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but we're going to show that in a moment. So that's that. We also have the presidential elections coming up. De presidentiële verkiezingen komen eraan. En we denken aan geschiedenis. We think about history, right? And what happened in recent history? Well, we had President Trump meeting with Chairman Kim Jong-un at the border of North Korea. You guys remember this? I hope you do. Now, why North Korea? That's going to be important. We hebben hier president Trump bij de grens van Noord-Korea. En straks gaan we het ook over Noord-Korea hebben. We're also going to talk about North Korea. You know, we want peace. That's what we want, right? We want a president that can achieve peace within the Korean Peninsula. Because, you know, it's looking like it's going to be war in the Korean Peninsula, and we don't want that. We want peace. Stabilization, not destabilization, stabilization. So we're going to take a look at this here. Ja, we willen een stabiel Korea.
My friend.
반갑습니다.
It is good to see you again.
이런 데서 각하를 만나게 될 줄 생각 못했어요.
I've never expected to meet you at this place.
That's good. It's my honor. Would you like me to step across?
각하께서 한 발자국 건너시면 사상 처음으로 우리 땅을 밟으시는 미국 대통령이 되십니다.
If your excellency
I'm
take
okay
a
with
step
it.
forward, you will be the
I'd be
first
very
U.S. president
proud.
to cross
I'd be
this
very
line.
proud to do that. Okay, let's do it. Come on.
The first U.S. president and the last, right? So and this is very important because North Korea is on a path to war. So there we have that.
So we're signing a very important document, a pretty comprehensive document, and we've had a really great term together, a great relationship. I'll be giving a news conference at 2:30, which is in a little bit less than 2 hours, and we'll discuss this at great length. In the meantime, I believe that they'll be handing it out on behalf of Chairman Kim and myself, and we're both very honored to sign the document. Thank you.
So President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un sign a declaration of friendship. Friendship, right? And now we have North Korea, aiming rockets towards Japan, the Sea of Japan, and also towards other, places. We're going to show it on the map, and this is how it escalated. We had President Trump signing a peace deal with the United States. We see this declaration of friendship, right? And within the cabinet of Trump, you had that guy with the mustache, right? John Bolton. We all remember him. Ja, John Bolton, die zat in het kabinet van Trump en die heeft het gewoon helemaal verkloot tussen Noord-Korea en Amerika. So John Bolton, he basically, broke up this declaration of friendship and deemed North Korea an enemy again. And this is how the deep state was trying to prevent Trump from achieving peace in North Korea. De deep state die probeert Trump tegen te houden om vrede te veroorzaken in het Koreaanse peninsula. Dus dit is geschiedenis, erg belangrijk. So this is history, very, very important, because now, if we look at now, the declaration of friendship has been torn into pieces. So, and Trump may be the new president. Who knows? Who knows? The Democrats are desperate. They're already rigging the computers, the vote machines and such. And they're very desperate. They don't want Trump to be president, right? Now, I'm not for Trump. I just want peace. Ja, ik wil gewoon vrede. Dus niet dat ik... Oh, we have a phone call. Zo. Het is niet dat ik pro-Trump ben. Nee, ik wil gewoon vrede, stabiliteit in de wereld. Dat wil ik. I want stability in the world. I want peace. I don't want, Ukraine fighting against Russia all the time, and Israel bombing Lebanon and other places. Right? We want peace. That's what we want to achieve. Ja, we willen vrijheid en vrede bereiken. We want freedom and peace. You have to have that in balance, right? Freedom and peace. So, yeah. We're going to take a look at a video that talks about North Korea and how it's rapidly preparing for war in the peninsula. How North Korea is rapidly preparing for its own war soon.
Throughout the year of 2024, North Korea has been doing things that would normally elicit an enormous amount of attention from the outside world. But due to the international news being focused on the more pressing ongoing hot conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East, North Korea's recent developments have gone underreported on for now. but they appear to be staging themselves for a major incident in the near to medium-term future that could see them returning back to the top of the global headlines sooner than you think. It began in the beginning of 2024 in January, when North Korea's supreme leader, Kim Jong-un, formally called for an alteration to the North Korean constitution to remove all of Pyongyang's commitments to a peaceful reunification of the Korean peninsula. And even further, he had North Korea's constitution be changed to label South Korea as the nation's, quote, primary foe and invariable principal enemy, end quote. To get the point across even further, he then ordered the Arch of Reunification, a monument constructed back in 2001 in Pyongyang that symbolized the goal of eventual peaceful Korean reunification, to be blown up and destroyed. These moves, in effect, eliminated the decades-old concept of the peaceful reunification of Korea from North Korea's official national policy. A major legal and political shift that was considered to be so alarming and unprecedented that it led to two highly respected longtime North Korea analysts, Robert L. Carlin and Siegfried S. Hecker, to write an essay where they concluded that Kim Jong-un had already made the strategic decision to go to war with the South, just as his grandfather Kim Il-sung had decided on war more than 7 decades ago in 1950 that led to the Korean War. They argued in this paper that they do not know when or how Kim will ultimately decide to pull the trigger that will launch the next Korean War, only that they believe his decision on war has already been made. Now, all of that may seem like a huge exaggeration to you at first. After all, just about everybody who's even remotely familiar with North Korea is used to the fact that North Korea basically threatens war with South Korea or the United States on a seemingly daily basis. And these reports of imminent war with North Korea have basically been routine for decades now. It is the quintessential modern geopolitical example of the world constantly crying wolf. Perhaps for so long that most of the outside world has grown apathetic and no longer takes the risk of a real war with North Korea seriously. But there's a growing number of intelligence analysts who are cautioning that this time is truly and frighteningly different. In February, Kim reportedly told his country's Ministry of Defense that the altering of the North Korean constitution had given him the legal right to annihilate South Korea whenever he wanted. And even more recently in October, North Korea symbolically blew up their own roads and rail lines that connected the country to South Korea, severing the physical links between them that had been built during calmer times in the 2000s. And all of this comes in an atmosphere where the North has been conducting all-time high record numbers of ballistic missile tests, is sending millions of artillery shells and other munitions to feed the Russian war machine in Ukraine. Recent reports of potentially thousands of North Korean soldiers being prepared for actual physical deployments to Ukraine, and recently unprecedented military cooperation between Pyongyang and Moscow that is seen.
They are deployed inside Ukraine and also inside Russia, the Kursk area, and Donetsk and Luhansk. You also have the North Korean troops. So, but that's bad. That's bad. Als Rusland samen met Noord-Korea gaat vechten, dat is slecht. Dat kan niet. But we have Australians, Americans, Canadians, right? We also have Canadians watching, fighting under the Ukrainian flag. We also have the Spanish, German, French, and the English fighting against Russia under the Ukrainian flag. Right? But that's bad that Russia and North Korea, are fighting in Ukraine. That's bad. That's bad. Yeah, that's not allowed, Putin.
God knows what modern Russian military technology filtering its way into the Korean People's Army. For many decades now, there's been a certain logic regarding America and South Korea's confrontational relationship with North Korea. It dates back to about 1991, when North Korea's former patron and chief supporter, the Soviet Union, collapsed, which threw North Korea into utter economic chaos. Over the years that followed, the qualitative differences between North Korea's and South Korea's armed forces accelerated into a runaway pace, with North Korea's armed forces remaining frozen in time in the Soviet era, and South Korea's armed forces continuing to advance and modernize, first with American equipment, and then with their own advanced home-built modern equipment as well. It quickly got to the point where it became obvious that South Korea's armed forces and the roughly 30,000 US troops deployed to safeguard South Korea possessed overwhelmingly superior technology and conventional firepower.
You hear that? 30,000 troops in a foreign country, right? So-called protecting the area. All right, right. You know, you are there as an instigator to make Kim Jong-un pissed off at you. You know, that's why the U.S. is there, right? They're training in the north of South Korea, which is in the south of North Korea, right? They're training over there. You know, it's a hot spot, and Kim Jong-un sees this and says, wait a minute, I got missiles, you know, I'm not going to hit you, because that's, you know, a war declaration, basically. But I'm going to shoot at the sea, right? To fend you off of North Korea, right? So that's his strategy. That's his way of thinking, right? Zo pakt hij het aan. Zijn strategie is gewoon afweer. Daarom schiet hij zo voor raketten de oceaan in.
To North Korea, to the point where it became obvious to everyone that if North Korea ever attempted a forceful takeover of South Korea again, the same way they had tried in 1950, there would be no other possible outcome other than the complete destruction of the North Korean regime. With a disintegrated Soviet Union and a cautiously rising China and an overwhelmingly dominant American position globally, North Korea knew that it had no other choice available to it other than diplomacy. And so, the North entered into a decades-long quest to normalize its relations with the United States in order to secure its own stability and legitimacy. And at the same time, knowing that it can never compete with the South or the US conventionally, and fearful of its potential future without US normalization, North Korea pursued its own nuclear weapons program as a secondary fallback option to rely upon for stability and security in case diplomacy with the US ultimately failed. But that simultaneous nuclear program strained Pyongyang's ability to actually normalize its relations with Washington, who was—
Well, it did fail, right? It did fail because of John Bolton and because of all these other deep state actors that were against President Trump, right? They did not want President Trump to achieve peace over there in the Middle East. This is why they also said, you know, prolong Afghanistan, prolong the war. So Trump said, wait a minute, you want me to prolong the war? Well, I'll call the chief Taliban, you know, and I'll show him his house, right? You know, as a threat not to attack Americans. And for a whole year, Americans were not attacked in Afghanistan, right? We need to remember what happened globally. So, and guten Tag, Andy en Alida, ook mooi dat je meekijkt. Weersmanipulatie, ja, dat kunnen ze doen, hè. Hello, Chris. Nice to see you here. So, and also Mr. Green Thumb from Ottawa. Yeah, nice to see you all here. So, we have that going on, right? The path to the war in the peninsula. And many people are like, North Korea, I have heard of it, but, you know, where is it on the map? Well, we just saw it on the map, but we're going to give better insight, right? So here we have the Mediterranean Sea, Europe, south of Europe, the Balkans, Turkey, Armenia, Georgia. Also very important, we had elections in Georgia where a pro-Georgian party came into power, and the EU says, nope, we don't we don't accept this. So there's a lot going on in Georgia. Over here we have Afghanistan, right? Pakistan, India, China, and over here we have North and South Korea, right? We want peace. We want unification. We want to see families come together after not having seen each other for 70 plus years, right? It needs to end. We want one Korea, not two Koreas. Er moet vrede komen tussen Noord en Zuid. Unificatie, dat is nodig. En ja, dat is ook het beste voor de regio. Want China voelt zich niet zo bedreigd, maar wel verantwoordelijk voor Noord-Korea. En ja, alhoewel, Noord-Koreanen mogen niet China in. Dan worden ze weer teruggestuurd. Maar ze krijgen wel enigszins financiële steun van China. So the Chinese are like, yeah, North Korea, we don't really want you, but we are going to support you financially, right? Because we don't want a country in collapse next to our country. So they have financial support from China, and the rest North Korea deems as enemy, right? Japan is an enemy, South Korea is an enemy, and now the doors have been opened to Russia, right, which is also a neighboring country. And yeah, now they are joining the war in Ukraine, fighting in the Donbass and also Lugansk. They're also in the area of Zaporizhia. Here we have Zaporizhia. This is all in Russian control, all the way to Crimea, right? And Russia deems the East as part of Russia now. And Kiev says, nope, it's part of Ukraine. And therein lies the problem. Rusland zegt, het oosten van Oekraïne, dat behoort nu tot Rusland. Zaporizhia dus ook. Daar zitten ze nu. They're over here in Zaporizhia. Yeah. Russia says that's ours. Rusland zegt dat is van ons. Tot aan de Krim. En Oekraïne zegt nee, dat is eigenlijk van ons. So, very complex situation. Now, there are two peace accords, right? They're not really deals, accords on table. Kiev saying we need the east of Ukraine. This is all part of Ukraine. And also Crimea, which is also part of Ukraine. And yeah, then we can achieve peace. Whilst Russia says, no. The areas that we are in right now is now part of Russia. And then we can achieve a peace, So, very, very complex and hard situation. But Donald Trump, right, going back to the American elections, which are coming up pretty soon, Tuesday, right? Don't forget to vote, American people listening in. Don't forget to vote, right? Very, very important. And please vote for Trump. Now, I know the systems are rigged. We're also going to show that. But you stand your ground, You voted for Trump, not Kamala. So, and it's very, very important to have a president who can achieve peace, because that's what we need, right? If we look in the Middle East, there was also a peace accord during the Trump presidency. Ja, we hebben een president nodig die vrede kan bereiken tussen Rusland en Oekraïne. We hebben ook ja, tijdens het presidentschap van Trump hebben we ook vrede bereikt in het Midden-Oosten, zo goed als. En ja, nu niet meer. Now the peace is gone. You know, we can also look back at 4 years of Joe Biden. Yeah, you know, and the whole world is destabilized under Joe Biden, right? We also have the war in Sudan. Let's not forget that. What's happening in the east and west of Sudan. You know, it's very, very sad to see Sudan in a conflict again. These people don't know more than war, right? It's on their mind 24/7. They never had a stabilized government, you know. 2 or 3 odd years stabilization, but yeah, now they have war again. So, and we also have external powers in Sudan. We have Ukraine and Russia fighting for control of the gold mines in the Darfur region, right? So we have that going on. There's so much going on. And yeah, it's hard to explain in 2 languages. But we try. Sudan is ook in oorlog, mensen. We hebben de SAF tegen de RSF. Er was even een tijdje van staakt het vuren. Maar de oorlog is weer opgeleid. So there was a ceasefire a couple of weeks ago, but the fighting continued. And yeah, it's very, very sad to see what's happening there. We need peace. That is what we need. So when we look at the United States, we have the elections coming up. And as I've said before, the computer are rigged, right? They're rigged. It's a rigged election. You know, and we need to stand our ground. For all you Americans out there voting, stand your ground, right? Because there are so many people saying this may be a civil war. Who knows? Who knows? The Democratic people over there, well, so-called Democrats, right? Because they're not really, they don't want Trump to be in power. So let's show some computer screens. Here we go. So let's show this here. Breaking, it's happening again, this time in Arkansas. Voter pushes Donald Trump on voting machine and it selects Kamala Harris. This is election interference. So here we have it, right? They don't want you to vote for Trump. Stand your ground.
Why it automatically do that? Okay.
Did you push right there? Or did you
Yes,
push right
I
there?
pushed right there. Why it automatically do that? Okay.
Did you push right there? Or did you
Yes,
push right
I
there?
pushed.
We also have other footage. Let's see if we have other footage. I believe so. So we see a voting machine going over to Kamala. Let's see what this here is.
100 ballots, all done by the same hand. In other words, the same exact penmanship, the same hand, the same everything. It was all done by the same pen, the exact same pen. And then they go and they say, well, this is a conspiracy theorist. It's a terrible thing that's happened to our country. And the whole world watches it, even third world countries. I was telling a friend came in last night. He comes from a country, he works there a lot, and knows it. And it's not a great country, to be honest with you. And he said, but when we vote, they take our fingerprints and they check our fingerprints. We can't get away with anything. This is a third world country. In our country, think of it. You are not allowed to even ask for somebody's voter ID. And if you do ask, I think they have the right to put you in jail. Not the one that's cheating, the one that's asking, I want honesty. Oh, let's go to jail. It's a terrible thing. And I tell you what, I love being off these stupid teleprompters because the truth comes out.
Exactly, the truth comes out, right? Now here we have Alex Jones saying Trump is pissed. Just minutes ago in Pennsylvania, 45 broke down the election fraud being openly carried out by deep state Democrats. As I've said before, they do not want Trump to be in power.
And I was just watching President Trump in Pennsylvania. He's hitting 3 states tonight, and he was pissed, going through all the evidence of election fraud and how the Democrats are all over TV saying they're going to win a landslide when the evidence shows the opposite, how they're going to try to block a Trump win. And Raskin, one of their top strategists, was on Bill Maher Friday saying it's going to look like a Trump win, but he's going to try to steal it, and they're going to block it, and just on and on and on. So they are intending to steal it, just like Pelosi said 4 years ago, oh, don't worry, it'll look like he wins, but we'll have the votes with the mail-ins. They're already trying the exact same scam they did 4 years ago. I did a big emergency report on it last night that millions tuned into, and I said, is Kamala Harris already stealing it again? People are like, oh man, you're just being negative. People aren't going to vote now because you're saying that. No, you got to vote more to override the fraud. They've only got so much fraud baked in. But they are, from our sources and even public statements of the Democrats, saying they're going to win no matter what, don't worry. And so all they've put Trump and America through, they're not going to just give up easily after the impeachments and the Russian collusion crap and all the fake indictments and the lawfare. This is common sense. So I'm saying be ready for the Civil War conditions and the not certifying it, and Carville saying we need an armed uprising against Trump and Trump supporters. I mean, these people are going for broke. And mainline Republican supporters aren't really ready for this. Trump is starting to get it and was talking about all this just minutes ago. I'm going to upload this now. I was looking for it. Nobody's clipped it out yet. By the time this is up, it'll be out there. I'll retweet it at Real Alex Jones. They're trying to shut down InfoWars in just 9 days. We could be shut down. It's all over the news. If you're doubting me, just Google InfoWars be shut down November 13th, but we still may survive. But regardless, I'll still be on air at the Alex Jones Network at RHTVLive on X. We got it back.
So they're banning Alex Jones, right? Freedom of speech is for the people that, have enough money to buy off these politicians and stuff, to leave them alone. That is freedom of speech nowadays. Very, very sad thing to see. But we are here. We are also in the info war. And carrying that on your shoulders is pretty hard. We have Trump leading 55.6% on Kamala Harris, according to the last poll, which was 4 hours ago. And we see a sea of red, right? All these states, alle staten zijn zo'n beetje rood, behalve Californië en daarboven, het midden van het land, ook 2 blauwe plekken. So we have blue spots in the middle of the country and the end of the country. And of course, the North, Pennsylvania is also a battleground, right? So we have that going on. Let's see what Mr. Orban has to say about the elections, or the elections and Joe Biden and such. So let's take a look at this here.
I do remember how Mr. George Soros published his plan in English in a Project Syndicate publication. It was done 2015, September 26. And he published a plan. He said that I'm quoting, here are the 6 components of my comprehensive plan. I just quote 2 or 3 points of that. First is, he said very clearly, 2015, that, quoting again, EU has to accept at least 1 million asylum seekers annually. That was the first point. Second, he said, adequate financing is critical. And he proposed to issue long-term euro bonds for financing the migration crisis and the migrants' social and welfare taking care when they arrive to the European Union. And another point which is very important for Hungary, which is involving the territory of Hungary directly into this program, he said that, quoting them, safe channels must be established for asylum seekers, starting with getting them from Greece and Italy to their destination countries, which means to bring them to Greece, to Hungary, and then have them to go to Austria. So don't forget that what we are speaking about is not an accidental stories, not a bulk of 10 years of accidental stories. It's a plan which is going on. It was written, it was published, it's known. So we are fighting again an organized gang called Empire of George Soros, NGOs, who are just supporting everybody who is transgressing our legal system and our regulation, and financing illegal activity against our nation. So this is why the story is not just about...
You see, over here we have someone standing up against a power broker called George Soros, and they're trying to destabilize Europe, and they are. We have thousands of migrants coming in, not even looking at who they are. Duizenden migranten komen naar Nederland toe. En we kijken nog niet eens naar wie ze zijn. Ja, maar het is allemaal een plan. It's a plan. Plan to destabilize Europe. A plan to destabilize the US and Canada. It's a plan. George Soros and his friends are betting on which country will fall first, right, to Islamic rule or, economically. This is what they're planning. These are the power brokers, and Orban, as a good prime minister or president, I believe he's president, right? He is exposing all of this, right? So this is why the European Union deems Orban a dictator.
About migration, but it's about how this European Union is working and how George Soros was able to captive the main positions inside many institutions of European Union, buying out MPs and other leaders, and in order to execute the plan which is written, and it's against all the Christian and nation-based political forces. It's against us. It's about how to change Europe and how to eliminate and push aside all the Christian, conservative, national-based political leaders and voters from the European Union decision-making bodies. So this is the migration about, not just about migration. Sorry for it.
So we have that, right? It's all on paper. They want to destroy us. They want to take control over us, right? They, the globalists, the one Donald Trump is fighting against. Now, like him or not, he's not the best guy, in my opinion. He has attacked some countries. But, it was peaceful during the Trump presidency, right? We need peace. That is what we need. We don't need war. We hebben geen oorlog nodig, mensen. We hebben vrede nodig. Vrede, dat is zeer, zeer belangrijk. Freedom, peace, and all the wars now. Freedom, peace, and all the wars now. There's nothing wrong with the planet. Er is helemaal niks mis met de planeet. We hebben CO2 hebben nodig. We need CO2, right? But they use it as a control, right? Because, every country has CO2 and they want control over us. So they say, you need to deindustrialize. Je moet minder bedrijven hebben, CO2 reduceren. We need to reduce CO2. No, we don't. There's nothing wrong with the planet. There is something wrong with the people trying to take over the planet. Right? Er is iets mis met de mensen die het planeet in handen proberen te krijgen. Juist door CO2-regulatie en noem het allemaal op. So, we have this going on. The Dominion systems giving a glitch, right? So, let's take a look at this here.
Issues with the programming of the bats with specifically
Yes.
from Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
Why was that only caught in the past few days, and why can't it be fixed? I saw the release.
Yeah, this is a nationwide issue with Dominion voter access terminals in the counties that use them. And the voter access terminals, of course, not all the machines, just the ones that are accessible, have an issue with the straight party voting and a programming issue that's, again, affected the machines nationwide. And I think all of us that use Dominion machines were unhappy to learn about this during the testing period and as early voting began. So we're working with Dominion to seek accountability on that front, and also are working with our clerks to ensure voters are aware of this programming issue that will require them to ensure they are voting every section on the ballot.
Do you think it's a bigger issue in Michigan because we do allow voters to cross over in ways that a lot of other states don't?
Because we have straight party, it's not struck me as I've talked to my other colleagues in other states. They're just as upset about it as we are. So, yeah, or surprised, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You are upset. Yeah. That's because Donald Trump will be the next president. Let's hope so. We need peace. We need stabilization in the world, right? And if the Trump campaign is watching, you need to get to the root of the cause, right? You may say Hamas, oh, that's a terroristic entity, right? But who created Hamas? That was Israel. Israel created Hamas after the PLO fell apart. It was used as a counterbalance against the PLO. And it fell apart, and all these PLO guys went to Hamas, right? And Israeli intelligence used Hamas as a shield for intervention, right? It's not about Hamas, it's about the Palestinian gas, right? So, you may say I'm a weird conspiracy guy. No, I'm not. I'm not. We've shown this article many, many times about Gaza. It's about the gas found off the coast of Gaza. Het gaat niet om Hamas, mensen. Hamas is gecreëerd door Israël. Het gaat om de Palestijnse gas. Ja, IDF's assault is to control Palestinian gas, avert Israeli energy crisis. So, if we go back into history, the Sykes-Picot Accord, right? We had the English Mandate and the Balfour Declaration and stuff like that. Now, many Jews came into then it was Palestine, and took over houses and stuff like that. And now they found gas off the coast of Gaza, and they're bombing the hell out of the Palestinians. So you can see the article. Now, I'm not against Israel. I believe they have the right to live, but the Palestinians also have a right to live, right? They are also people. Very, very sad to see what's happening. Yesterday, this was an article from 2014, I believe. So yesterday, Israeli Defense Minister and former Israeli Defense Force Chief of Staff Moshe Yaalon announced that Operation Protective Edge marks the beginning of a protracted assault on Hamas. You see, there were Israelis kidnapped, students kidnapped, and the students were executed. So the operation won't end in just a few days, he said, adding that we are preparing to expand the operation by all means at our disposal as to continue striking Hamas, the organization that you had made, right? You just don't have control over it. So the article continues, but in 2007, a year before Operation Cast Lead, Yalon's concerns focused on the 1.4 trillion cubic feet of natural gas discovered in 2000 off the Gaza coast, valued at $4 billion, right? $4 billion. So you're stealing someone else's gas and using Hamas, what you deem as a terroristic organization, what you basically created yourself, right, as a shield for intervention. You may say, I'm weird, I'm a conspiracy theorist and stuff. Nope. We're going to show Ron Paul talking about Hamas and who created it, right? Now, Ron Paul is also in the Trump team, and we're going to take a look at that. We need to remember history, the recent history. Let's take a look at this here.
The gentlewoman from Florida is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Texas, Dr. Paul.
The gentleman is recognized for 2 minutes.
Gentlelady for yielding, and I ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection.
Madam Speaker, I rise in opposition to this resolution, not because I am taking sides and picking who the bad guys are and who the good guys are, but I'm looking at this more from the angle of being a United States citizen, an American, and I think resolutions like this really do us great harm. In many ways, what's happening in the Middle East, and in particular with Gaza right now, we have some moral responsibility for both sides in a way, because we provide help and funding for both Arab nations and Israel. And so we definitely have a moral responsibility, and especially now today, the weapons being used to kill so many Palestinians are American weapons, and American funds essentially are being used for this. But there's a political liability which I think is something that we fail to look at, because too often there's so much blowback from our intervention in areas that we shouldn't be involved in. You know, Hamas if you look at the history, you'll find out that Hamas was encouraged and really started by Israel because they wanted Hamas to counteract Yasser Arafat. And you say, well, yeah, that was better then and served its purpose, but we didn't want Hamas to do this. So then we as Americans say, well, we have such a good system, we're going to impose this on the world. We're going to invade Iraq and teach people how to be Democrats. We want free elections. So we encourage the Palestinians to have a free election. They do, and they elect Hamas. So we first, indirectly and directly through Israel, help establish Hamas. Then we have election. Then Hamas becomes dominant, so we have to kill them. You know, it just doesn't make sense. During the 80s, you know, we were allied with Osama bin Laden. And we were contending with the Soviets. It was at that time our CAA thought it was good if we radicalized the Muslim world. So we financed the madrasa schools to radicalize the Muslims in order to compete with the Soviets. There's too much blowback. There's a lot of reasons why we should oppose this resolution. It is not in the interest of the United States. It's not in the interest of Israel either.
So let's give a perspective on what Ron Paul was saying. You know, let's show it on the map, right? It's about encirclement. We need to encircle Russia because Russia is the enemy. Remember the Red Scare? Yeah, that was the scare of the USSR. We need to contain Russia, right? Now, how do you contain such a big country? Well, you abuse the weaknesses of a country, right? We have Georgia, for example, over here, which has two regions which want independence. We have South Ossetia and this region here. I always forget the name, but also a region. And South Ossetia is here, and we also have North Ossetia, which is in Russia, basically. And this part of Georgia is prominently Russian, you know, and also wants basically to be part of the Russian Federation. So you have that going on in Georgia. And, you know, external powers abuse this. As I've said before, there were also elections in Georgia. A pro-national party came into power, which the EU says, nope, there's election fraud going on in Georgia. Yeah, they're trying to destabilize Georgia. That's what they're trying to do, right? The same goes for Moldova. In Moldova, we have a region called Transnistria, which is bordering Ukraine, and we have the people in power in Moldova wanting to join the EU, whilst the public says, no, we don't really want that, you know. And yeah, we're going to show Transnistria in a moment. So I'm not making this up, right? This is very important to know what's happening in and around our world. And many people don't know this. So let's take a look at Transnistria. Here we go. 50 hours in a country that doesn't exist on the map, Transnistria.
Enormous statues of Lenin and tanks and memorials, and the amount of Soviet pride is bonkers, dude.
There are a few hidden parts of the world that most of us will be shocked exist today. And when I heard about the region we're about to travel to, I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Well, Transnistria is an uncontrolled region of Moldova.
Hidden behind a highly militarized border, this region is, in fact, a country that doesn't exist. But this isn't a made-up micronation like we've covered in the past. This place has a population of close to 500,000 people. They've built their own army, have their own flag, their own president, currency, and even national anthem. They call themselves the Pridnestrovyan Moldavian Republic, also known by outsiders as Transnistria. The country was founded in very shady circumstances, but the strangest part about this fake country is that they consider themselves the final stronghold of the Soviet Union.
Transnistria, a small strip of land between Moldova and Ukraine, has been disputed territory since the fall of the Soviet Union.
It declared itself as a Soviet republic in 1990.
The symbols of the old Soviet Union still have pride of place.
But nobody other than a few other unrecognized countries recognizes it as an actual independent country. And so, what is Transnistria? And who still lives in this strange little country? Well, with conflicting information online about the safety of traveling to this region, we began our journey to the country that doesn't exist on a map.
What's up, dude?
The guy that checked our passports just subscribed to the channel.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, what are you doing here? Why are you going to Transnistria? And I explained everything and then he subscribed.
Even though Eric is American, he grew up most of his childhood in Russia, speaking fluent Russian. And this trip will be his first one back into a Russian-speaking country since he left at 15. To get there, however, we first had to find a cab that could drive us across Transnistria's fake border.
Can he cross over the border?
Yeah, he said he can.
Okay.
Thank you. He says he's from there.
Oh.
I said to a lot of people go there and he's like, no, people only leave.
It's taken a while. So it's technically not a border, but they believe it's a border.
Ah, so he's saying because like the country doesn't exist, money can appear there and then it can disappear. So it's like you can do like sketchy stuff with money. So
where the f are we going?
Welcome to Transnistria. Just the fact that it's a fake country makes it insanely strange and different. So I guess we're gonna go explore and try to figure out if we can get an idea of what this place really is. These are the old Soviet water and drink dispensers. Only other time I've seen these were abandoned inside Chernobyl. Half the city feels frozen in time in the Soviet Union. I mean, look at this car. What even brand is this? And there's military everywhere. Like, I've never seen so many individual military officers just walking around, like, all over the place. It's really confusing. Like, some things here look ancient. Some of the signs, and others look like they were just built. It's so strange. You take a couple of steps off the main street and then buildings look like they're completely falling apart.
It doesn't look destroyed, it like is destroyed. Здравствуйте.
This is a street?
Yeah.
That's a toilet. Look at that.
Oh.
Oh, there's a guy right there. Hello.
Как туалет нормальный?
It's so weird. There's like, on the main street, it all looks new, and then you take one step off and like, this is...
After walking around for a bit and getting a confusing first impression, we decided it was time to blend in with a haircut and some tracksuits.
No, dude, all my worst haircuts were by Russian-speaking barbers.
Oh wow, this is kind of cool. I'm not sure if getting a haircut in a Russian basement is a good idea or a great idea. Yeah, just like he has, you know, like a... I genuinely have no idea if he understood. Is it good? Do you understand what I'm...
So, yeah, there we have that, right? Transnistria, a country that does not exist. And who knows if that region will be destabilized, such as what happened in Ukraine, right? We know what happened in Ukraine. We have Victoria Nuland and Jeffrey Pyatt talking about who's going to power in Ukraine, right? And yeah, we must not forget this. So this was during the Obama period where Joe Biden, current president, was vice president, and there's a lot going on in Ukraine, put it that way. Victoria Nuland of the State Department talking to Jeffrey Pyatt.
Ranking official talking about diplomatic efforts in Ukraine, the last thing you want to do is drop your guard.
So that would be great, I think, to help glue this thing and have the UN help glue it. And, you know, the EU.
But that is exactly what reportedly happened between US Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland and US Ambassador to Ukraine Jeffrey Pyatt. The exchange has since surfaced online, including the crude swipe at the European Union. The audio clip of a woman and man said to be Nuland and Pyatt. Here's them discussing strategies to work with the three main opposition figures.
I don't think Cleach should go into the government. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's a good idea.
In terms of him not going into the government, just let him sort of stay out and do his political homework and stuff. I'm just thinking in terms of sort of the process moving ahead, we want to keep the moderate Democrats together. The problem is going to be Tony Book and his...
You see, Victoria Nuland is a snake. She knows when to resign. She has resigned. Yep. Dus we hebben hier Victoria Nuland en Jeffrey Pyatt, de Amerikaanse ambassadeur in Oekraïne, samen met de hoofd van de State Department in Amerika, die praten over wie de macht krijgt. En in 2014, 10 jaar geleden, 10 years ago, right? And of course, Victoria Nuland, she denies the phone call.
These guys. And, you know, I'm sure that's part of what Yanukovych is calculating on all of this.
I think Yats is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience. He's the guy, you know, what he needs is Cleach and Tony Book on the outside. He needs to be talking to them 4 times a week, you know. I just think Cleach going in, he's going to be at that level working for Yatsenyuk. It's just not going to work.
There is a suggestion for Nuland to contact Klitschko directly to play to his top dog sensibilities, while Nuland refers to getting the United Nations involved in a political solution. And that's where the unfortunate comment arises.
I'm obviously not going to comment on private diplomatic conversations.
Oh, you're not going to comment on that. But you are going to impeach Trump on calling the then new President Zelensky. So that's how it works, right? The Democrats are playing a very, very crude game, and the Republicans, they are large in numbers. Let's hope so, you know. And these underhand tactics of, you know, geopolitical strategy, right? This needs to stop. You know, America has its hand everywhere. As we've seen before, North Korea, you know, now we have Ukraine and other parts of the world. It's encircling Russia. That is what they're doing. You know, they want to balkanize Russia. Ze willen van Rusland meerdere landen maken. They want to make more countries out of Russia, right? They want to balkanize it, like what happened during the former Yugoslavia. And they want control over those regions in Russia, right? So we need to enclose Russian influence. Now, how do you do this? Well, back then, we had the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. You guys remember the Mujahideen, right? Made by Zbigniew Brzezinski, and he thwarted the Russians out of Afghanistan, because Russia was expanding their empire, their USSR, and, the Mujahideen won and also fell apart into three groups, right? We had the Northern Alliance, we had the Taliban, we still have it, and we also have Al-Qaeda. So that's been going on, right? We need to look at history, and it's enclosing Russia, the Cold War. So, and if we look at Korea, going back, North Korea and South Korea was basically made by external powers. The USSR and America came to agreement to make a line throughout the Korean Peninsula. And now we have a leader in power wanting to wage war at their own border, right? We want peace. That is what we want. We don't want war. No. No more war. We've had enough. We've had enough suffering. We need leaders that love their country, that love their people. We need a good cabinet that puts the interest of their people ahead, right? That is what we need. So maybe you can, say it better than I can. And maybe you have political, maybe you want to go into politics, I don't know. But we need world peace. We can achieve world peace, right? We don't need centralized power to achieve that. We don't need a European Union and stuff like that. No. We need sovereign states that can have their own decisions, right? That is what we need. Sovereign states that can have their own decisions. We don't need a centralized power. It never worked in Europe, right? As we look at history, Spain was a centralized power once, and that fell apart. France was a centralized power once, during the age of Napoleon, that fell apart. Germany was a centralized power once, during the Second World War, that fell apart. A centralized power does not work. We need countries that can make their own sovereign decision, and we need people that actually serve the interest of their people, not the interest of the United Nations or other shadowy organizations no one voted upon, right? Such as the World Economic Forum. I did not vote for Klaus Schwab or any of these creeps, right? They're not in our parliament, but they have influence in our parliament. We must deem George Soros as one of the major terrorists, right? Because he has destabilized a lot of countries, and he calls himself a philanthropist. First he bombs a few countries using armies of other countries, right? And then He goes into the country with an NGO, non-governmental organization, and starts to rebuild and say, I'm a philanthropist. Yeah, first you destroyed it. You know, this is what the globalists are doing. They're trying to divide and conquer. De globalisten doen dit. Hè. Het is niet de nationale regering. Nee, het zijn de investeerders. The investors are doing this. Such as George Soros, such as Blackwater and BlackRock and other black companies, right? Vanguard and other investors. They bet on which country will fall first, right? Buying up infrastructure and stuff like that. I'm not making this up. You know, we showed Zelensky shaking hands with JP Morgan, with Blackwater and BlackRock, right? All these shadowy investors. You know, we know the game. We know the game. And we're trying to explain it. You know, it's like a chess game. So, yeah, it's hard to explain once you don't really see the whole game, right? You see a small fraction of the game, like a few seconds of it, and you think, it's politics, man. It's boring. No, you're supposed to be involved in politics. You're supposed to be involved. You must stand your ground, right? Stand your ground. If you vote for Trump and you get Kamala, you know, stand your ground and say, no, I voted for Trump, right? This computer is rigged. I voted for Trump. So let's take a look at this here. This is in Kentucky. You have someone pressing Trump. Nope. You got Kamala. The game is rigged, my American friends. The game is rigged. Stand your ground and say, no, I wanted to vote for Trump, but this damn computer voted for Kamala. You know, this is how they cannot cheat anymore, right? Stand your ground, my American friends. America used to be a leading country, you know, a rising star, which every country tried to follow, but it lost its ground during the 9/11 attacks, blaming other countries such as Afghanistan, you know, and Iraq, which was not even involved in 9/11, nor Afghanistan. You know, these people came from Saudi Arabia and other parts. I believe one came from Libya, right? So, you know, Saudi Arabia was flying in the terrorists, Mohammed Atta and stuff like that. We also have Able Danger. We remember that, right? Able Danger. And that was closed down 2 or 3 months prior to 9/11. So they had the intel. They had the intel. This is why you see Condoleezza Rice giving the White House a memo saying that bin Laden is going to strike the U.S. soon. You know, I'm not making this up, right? They had the intel. So, yeah, ever since America has fallen. It's fallen under a dictatorial rule. The Patriot Act, right? Nothing patriotic about the Patriot Act. They were spying upon you, you know? They were spying without a warrant. Normally you need a warrant and stuff like that, but no, we need to spy on you. Yeah, because maybe you are a terrorist. No, they are the terrorists. They are the entities watching over us, saying that we need to comply to their rules. Ja, mensen, na 9/11 is Amerika gevallen. De Big Brother staat is alleen maar groter geworden. De Patriot Act, niks patriotistisch daaraan, helemaal niks. Ze werden bespioneerd en zoiets. Dus alles wat ingevoerd wordt tegen je gebruikt. And yeah, very, very sad thing to see. We need peace. That is what we need. We don't need any more war, you know, but the Pentagon and the war profiteers are, you know, getting a lot of money for these wars. NATO soldiers in Bryansk, Russia. So we have that, as I've explained before. We also have this here, Orban going to Georgia and shaking hands with the new elected cabinet. But as I've said before, the European Union says, nope, nope, we don't like the new government. The EU does not want to recognize it. Very, very sad thing to see. So, yeah. There's so much more going on, right? Let's take a look at Al Jazeera. Let's see what they have to say, right? We also have Mark Dice giving his take on the elections. And we're going to take a look at that. Now, of course, Al Jazeera is also looking at America because for many countries it's a guiding light, but America is in their own struggle. You know, the Democrats don't want to give up power. So over here we see the US 2024 elections. We're all keeping an eye on the elections. We also showed this in the beginning of the video. So, climate policy clash. Nothing wrong with the climate. There's something wrong with the people. Right? The people. Niks mis met klimaat. Wel met de mensen. I don't see any people, you know, going on the streets and saying we need to stop the war in Lebanon. You know, we need to stop Israel attacking Lebanon. No people there. Nope. So let's take a look at what's happening over there in Lebanon. Very sad to see. Very, very sad to see. And who knows? YouTube is also watching. Who knows? Maybe we will get banned again Because the last time Facebook banned de broadcast, ja, de laatste keer toen we live waren, toen heeft Facebook de uitzending verbannen. Ja, je mag niet laten zien wat er allemaal gebeurt in de wereld. Hè. Mag niet. You're not supposed to show what's happening in and around our beautiful planet. Nope, you're not allowed to do that. So let's take a look at Israel, Hezbollah.
Now, Israeli forces have launched attacks across several parts of Lebanon on Sunday. An airstrike hit a residential area in the coastal city of Sidon, trapping civilians under rubble of damaged buildings. Further south in Nabatea, strikes landed near the Tabnin government hospital. It comes as forced evacuation warnings were issued in the eastern Bekaa Valley region by the Israeli army. They claim they're targeting Hezbollah sites in Baalbek. Let's go live now to Charles Stratford in Beirut. So what are we seeing in terms of those exchanges that have been picking up today?
Yes, Sammy, more airstrikes in a number of different places in the south and the east of Lebanon. A large strike on what looks to be a large residential building in the outskirts of the town of the city of Sidon, an area called RHTVLive. So far, we are hearing reports of at least 3 people killed in that strike and at least 9 others injured. Sidon has been hit at least a couple of times, at least twice in the last few days, an indication of an escalation further north than the main, for want of a better word, theatre of operations for the Israelis further south. We're also getting drips of information with respect to what's understood to be 2 families that are buried underneath the rubble following an Israeli airstrike almost a week ago now in the town of Khiam, which is in southern Lebanon. And it's understood that there are 21 people that were missing. We're now hearing, certainly a couple of hours ago, reports that 5 bodies have been recovered, at least another 16 still missing. It's highly unlikely. Nobody's expecting anybody to be still alive following that attack, but certainly what the...
Very, very sad thing to see what's happening. And we also put it on the map, Baalbek. And let's show where it is. So here we have Baalbek, and let's zoom out. So Israel is on the north side, right, protecting Haifa. Over here we have Haifa. And there's a very fiery exchange between the north and the south of Israel and Lebanon, right? The south of Lebanon, north of Israel. The Golan Heights is also very, very red zone, right? But Israel hit all the way up here in Baalbek. Very, very sad thing to see. We need to end the wars. End it, right? We need to end it. So if you want to demonstrate about something, demonstrate against the wars. We don't need any more wars. We also have Turkey attacking Syria and Iraq, you know, because the PKK is there, according to the leader, Erdogan, the Sultan, right? We don't like Erdogan. We don't like all these people in power, such as Sisi in Egypt, Netanyahu in Israel. We also don't like the leader of the Palestinian authorities. What's his name? We don't like all these leaders, you know, because they don't rule in the interest of the people. The people need to rise up against their leaders peacefully, right? We don't need war. We need peace, stabilization. We need a government that can decide for themselves, not following an agenda that some major investor had made, such as George Soros, right? You know, we don't need that. We don't need that. We need peace. We need stabilization. We need a unification of the Korean Peninsula, you know. And maybe, let's hope that Donald Trump will be president. So Americans, I repeat this, stand your ground. When the computer says Kamala, you go to someone, you know, who's overlooking this whole situation, and you say, your computer is rigged. I want to vote for Trump, but I got Kamala, right? Or Kamala, or whatever her name is. Stand your ground. You know, they want to steal the elections, right? This happened in 2020. We remember it. We remember what happened in Wuhan, China, the biolab. Yeah, you were not supposed to talk about that. Yeah, but now time has passed, and it's not a conspiracy theory anymore. It came from a lab in China, in Wuhan. Let's see if the QAnon. No, wait. Wuhan. There. Here we have Wuhan, China, where there's a biolab where the pathogen escaped from, right? And this was during the Obama period, where the American Senate had said, nope, we're not going to make bioweapons in America. So what they did is they had a patent on China, and they developed a bioweapon there, right? And Wuhan was under a lockdown, and the United Nations took over the Chinese model and put the whole world under a lockdown, right? And used NATO and the army to suppress the people. I've been warning about this for ages. This is all old news, but we must remember looking forward what happened during the time, you know. So I think I've said enough for today. We're going to close off with a song, of course, right? Sometimes we need a song. But first, we're going to look at Paul Joseph Watson, showing the President of the United States, if I'm supposed to believe that. So here we have Joe baby-eating Biden, right? And it's very, very strange. Would you want this as a president? Well, he's not in the race anymore, luckily, you know, but he is a Democrat. Look at what Joe Biden does to this baby. Why are you putting a baby's foot in your mouth, Mr. President? It's not very hygienic, right? Very, very weird. Why would you do this, man? Is this presidential? I don't think so. Hey, look at that. It's like weird, man. Why are you doing this? You know, to all these kids, are you really, maybe eating these kids? I don't know. Are you stealing their energy, right? But by putting their hand in your mouth? Why are you doing this? This is not presidential. He's a weird guy, this Biden, right? The whole family is weird and corrupt and very, very strange.
Okay, this is normal, right? The children showed up for a White House trick-or-treat event. Unbeknownst to them, the treat being the President of the United States biting into some prime baby meat. Jill Biden decided to meet the kids while dressing up as that well-known Halloween character, a panda. Alright, that's normal. Thankfully,
Well, I'd choose that girl, what's her name? From Corpse Bride, Corpse Bride. I'd choose that as a Halloween costume, We're going to show the Corpse Bride, and very, very, good movie. If you like animation movies, right? So here we have the Corpse Bride. And there we go. That would suit Jill Biden instead of a panda, right? Really walking next to a corpse, Joe Biden. But that would be a nice, outfit to wear, right? Yeah. But yeah, let's take a look at what Paul Joseph Watson has to say. It's all very strange.
media rushed in to assure us that it was all just a harmless joke. I mean, what leader of the free world hasn't occasionally munched on a toddler when the meme becomes reality? I'm Joe Biden and I'm going to bite this delicious baby. It's quite something that Joe Biden can chow down on infants in public. And most people are like, yep, that's good old Uncle Joe for you. And it's not even in the top 10 of weird things he's done around kids. Not been a great week for Biden's optics, with the White House scrambling to cover up his garbage comment.
Do you think less of Americans who support Trump?
So, just to clarify, he was not calling Trump supporters garbage.
Literally on tape saying Trump supporters are garbage.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Oh, but they added an apostrophe to it after the fact. That phantom apostrophe's doing a lot of work. Don't believe your lying guys. Believe the transcript, not the actual video.
Donald Trump's divisive rhetoric is what needs to end. He called this a garbage country.
Just a flat-out lie. Donald Trump didn't call America a garbage country. A comedian made a joke about Puerto Rico. Then Biden called Trump supporters actual garbage.
The only garbage are the supporters of Trump. You know, this is sad, hearing this from a demented old fool, right? You are demented, Joe. Step down. You've had enough, right? You've been in politics for most of your life. Once you were the youngest in your area, but now you're the oldest, right? You're stiff. You gotta go, Joe. You gotta go. You know, and Kamala, bye, Kamala, bye. You know, Kamala is just a sticker on the wall, right? You could pull it off and throw it away. So she's going to fix things, right? You've had the chance to fix things. You've had the chance. We've had inflation. Not only America, but also Canada and other countries have the same inflation rate, or maybe even higher than America. It's almost almost impossible to buy some cheap meat, right? We want cheap foods, cheap and healthy foods, not foods with all these additives and such. We don't need that. No, we need food that can, empower us, right? Not food that makes us sick. This is why the world is in such a state. The food and all the stuff we spray in our atmosphere, and all the radio frequencies and all the interference, the electromagnetic static, that has an impact on our planet. So, and over here you have an old fool not willing to step down.
Garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Oh no, wait, new excuse just dropped. He was just stuttering.
The president always has that battle against stuttering, and that seemed to be apparent in this as well.
Meanwhile, Trump's latest photo op went down a bit better than Biden's baby biting.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden. We love that. We love that, we love it. We love it because their policy was garbage. And that's when the Democrats are in power. You have garbage in, garbage out. It's garbage, It needs to end, right? And the Federal Reserve. Right? Now that's a statement you don't hear very much, right? And the Federal Reserve. This way you don't need to lend, right? You can create your own money, and that would be a lot better. Yeah. And that's also leading light for Europe. We also have a federal bank, basically, that has power over our currency. So, President Trump, if you're listening, these are some policy changes you can make, right? Stabilize North Korea. Go talk to Kim Jong-un, the man you proclaimed as Rocket Man, right? Go talk to him and solve the war between Russia and Ukraine, and also Sudan, and also Israel if you can, because it's a lot on your plate, but you need to stabilize the world, and the world will be proud of you for doing so.
This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
A CNN reporter had a total hissy fit over Trump's garbage truck stunt.
I cannot stress enough how we have spent the last 3 days, which has been reiterating, going over these racist, vile remarks that we heard in the pre-programming leading up to Donald Trump taking the stage. Now he has...
Wait a minute. So when Kamala says Trump is Hitler, that's not vile, that's not, derogatory, that's not bad, putting them in a bad light. No, but when Trump says something about Kamala, oh, that's bad. Racist. That's this, that's that. You are biased, Mrs. What's your name? CNN is biased. Biased news. They're for the Democrats.
Flipped the script. He is trying to change the narrative, and he is trying to latch on to these garbage comments to try to drive people out to polling places so that they cast their ballot.
Oh no, he's changed the narrative on us, calling Trump and all his supporters racists and fascists every 5 seconds. The absolute horror.
And I have to begin by saying 250 million Americans are not garbage.
Trump's garbage truck stunt got under Joe Scarborough's skin so much it turned him into Elmo from Sesame Street.
This guy does this every day. And then you turn on Fox News and say, oh, how could anybody do this?
It really is unthinkable that Americans could be facing 4 years of Kamala.
I don't understand why the media is so degrading to the American worker. Explain that to me. Because it's the American worker putting on the television, trying to distract themselves from work and such. And you got this guy, this nerd over here, this sycophant, right? Who are you to decide for other people? Other people can decide for themselves, right? You're just demonizing someone because you're getting paid for it. You're getting paid.
Much it turned him into Elmo from Sesame Street.
This guy does this every day. And then
you turn on the television, and you get your sorry excuse of a person that you are, and bitching about Trump. Oh, Trump this, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that. Trump is a billionaire who owns a lot of property. He can just sit back and do nothing, right? But no, he's trying to save America. We all can see America's falling ever since 9/11 happened, which is still not resolved, right? Now you may say Osama bin Laden, this and that. Yeah, but who facilitated Osama bin Laden during the Afghan Civil War, right? It was the U.S. So this sorry excuse of a person is anti-Trump and also looks down on the American worker. What's wrong about using a garbage truck for your campaign? Why not?
you turn on Fox News and say, oh, how could anybody do this?
It really is unthinkable that Americans could be facing 4 years of Kamala Harris, especially after 2 attempts on Trump's life. The first nutcase appeared in a BlackRock video, and the second in a video promoting prolonging the war in Ukraine. RFK has vowed to help Trump make America healthy again. But the deep state, via massive funding from the likes of BlackRock, is firmly behind Kamala. No surprise then that BlackRock is one of the biggest investors in the 3 largest pharmaceutical companies. Johnson & Johnson, Merck & Co. and Pfizer. They don't want Trump back in office because he threatens their ability to seize control of your health freedoms. Which brings me to today's video sponsor, Black Forest.
Nope, no sponsors here. We don't have sponsors. Maybe you do, Paul Joseph Watson, but we don't over here at RHTVLive. We skip the commercials and let's see what you have to say here.
That we support companies who stand with our values. Check out.
We support companies that stand with our values. Well, how do you know? How do you really know, right? We don't support anything, right? I just want to be free. That's what I want. I want freedom.
Milk. What's with all the bizarre leg kicks? Tucker Carlson thinks he may have the answer.
Or like Tim Walz is very obviously gay. I look at him and I'm like, well, you're gay. And I'm sure I'll be attacked for saying that. Maybe he's not gay, but he certainly seems gay.
Right. And you immediately say, where's your evidence?
Oh, I don't have any evidence. I'm just saying the guy looks super, super gay to me.
Kamala's campaign continues to insist that Trump is exhausted. Trump. Kamala. Jimmy Kimmel joked that Trump supporters should vote after the polls close so their votes won't be counted.
That's election interference, right? They're doing everything in their power to stop Trump from being president. You know, we will have a broadcast on Tuesday, right? We will see who will be the new president of the United States pretty soon. And we're also keeping our eyes on Korea, the Korean Peninsula, and of course the Middle East and Ukraine. You know, but that didn't really change in the times that we're looking at it. So we have Russia gaining more ground, but you know, we're also trying to search for a nice song to close off with, right? And yeah, maybe you guys have some news. You can also put it in the comments. You know, we're doing this all together. So let's see if we can find a nice song to close off with, right? So let's also not forget P. Diddy and Epstein. Epstein did not kill himself. Let's not forget that. We must remember history and yeah. Let's not forget 9/11 and other things that have happened. You know, these globalists want power. That's what they want. Control and power. So we're going to close off with a nice song. We have we were trying to search for a video, but we did not really find it. Well, we did find it, but something happened in between. And 11 shares, 11 keer gedeeld. Dank voor delen mensen, dank. We doen het in zowel Engels, meer Engels als Nederlands, maar de Nederlanders snappen het ook. We hadden een liedje gevonden, maar ja, toen ging die naar een andere scherm toe, waar we de liedje kwijtgeraakt. Ja, dus dat is zo'n beetje gebeurd. En we zoeken naar het liedje. Ja, er is zoveel gepost, hè. A lot is posted, so we're looking for the song that we can close off with. So we've had a lot on table, right? We want peace. We've seen Korea and other places. We want peace. That is what we want. Peace, freedom, and all the wars now. 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 You know, we know the enemy. We know that the World Economic Forum and the Bilderberg groups and all these shadow lobby groups, they are the enemy. They put the agenda that governments have to follow. No, it's our government, right? They have to work for us, not we for them. No, they have to work for us, right? So, we're almost there. We zijn er bijna. We hebben het gevonden. We found it. Zo. Terug. Zo. So, I think I've said enough. Stop the war machine. Yep, indeed, we must stop the war machine. And yeah, that is what we must do. We want peace. We willen vrede. Dat is wat we willen. Peace. You know, we don't want death and taxes. So we have Sarah Morgan singing her song.
Sir, well, they turn our dollars into francs, put them all in foreign banks, buy a couple dozen tanks, then they stick us with a bill. They say they're out of cash, so they subsidize and dash as we carry the world up the hill. Yeah, 'cause the more I make, the more they take, the less I have, the less I have, the more I need, the more I need, the more I work, more I make, more they take until they've got it all. We'll just skip the solo. I'm sick and tired of this USD. I use it and they charge everyone but us has it in reserves for free. I'm gonna buy a little boat. Pay one less county fee. Set sail for international waters where they can't audit me. Yeah. 'Cause the more I make, the more they take, the less I have, the less I have, the more I need, the more I need, the more I work, more I make, more they take until they've got it all. Taxes. You're in luck, sir. Well, they turn our dollars into
There we go again.
put them all in foreign banks, buy a couple dozen
love you,
tanks,
Sarah.
then they stick us with the bill. They say they're out of cash, so they subsidize and dash as we carry the world up the hill. Yeah, 'cause the more I make, the more they take, the less I have, the less I have, the more I need, the more I need, the more I work, more I make, more they take until they've got it all. We'll just skip the solo. I'm sick and tired of this USD. I use it and they charge me while everyone but us has it in reserves for free. I'm gonna buy a little boat. Pay one less county fee. Set sail for international waters where they can't audit me. Yeah. 'Cause the more I make,
Taxes. We don't need any more taxes. As Mr. Green Thumb had said, right? Say no to any tax worldwide. Let's make this planet to outlaw taxing people. Yeah, exactly. We don't need taxes, right? We need the system to work with us, not the system against us, not sucking us dry. You know, we need the system to work with us. You are the change. You listening, right? You are the change. You can share this video and show this video to others, right? We're doing this for free. I want to see a better world. That is what I can leave behind for my nephews, you know. So that is what I want. I want a better world, right? And every day, it's you who can change it. You, the one listening to this broadcast, you can change it. You have the power to do so. So let's change the world into a better system. A system that works for us instead of we working for the system. So that's my speech. And we're going to close off. I thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. And we'll see each other next Sunday. And who knows, maybe we'll do an open panel again. Because we need